Women who get together with other women are healthier, happier, and stronger.
Now we can make some figure eights with our hips. Figure eight, figure eight, figure eight, figure eight. Woo!
By the time I met Mickey, I had already contemplated suicide and I was developing a plan. That's how dark my life had gotten.
Because I'm a woman, phenomenal woman, that's me.
Hello, Hagerstown! Do that again. Hello, Hagerstown! I am so grateful that you're here for Prime Time for Women's inaugural show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm happy to tell you that our show here at Prime Time for Women is all about for women and about women in the prime of life. It's based on this crazy amount of research that talks about the positive health benefits of social interaction and how that improves health outcomes. It turns out, according to researchers, scientists, and doctors, women who get together with other women are healthier, happier, and stronger across the board, but especially this is true for women in the second half of life. So Prime Time for Women is going to provide opportunities to expand your social network, to share your stories, to celebrate your past, and to discover your futures. So I'm really, really excited about today's show. And when I was little, I used to kind of do this little dance when I was excited. And I would bounce on my toes and kind of jiggle around. And my mom would always give me this look, you know the look mothers do. Any of you guys get a look from your mother? Yeah, let's see what some of those looks look like. Jessica. Yeah. Mary Beth, what kind of look did you get from your mom? No, what kind of look did your mother give you? Oh, there it is, right there. Yeah, that's one. Well, my mom had this way when I would do my little excited dance. She would furrow her brow, put her hands on her hips. She would, lean in and purse her lips, and she'd say, "Bernadette Marie," and I knew she was serious because she said my whole name. "Bernadette Marie, do you need to go potty? Because we don't want to have any accidents." And, I don't know, maybe my excited dance looked like my tinkle dance, I don't know. But anyhow, I wanted to reassure all of you, although I'm incredibly excited about today, I remembered to go potty, and I am not in danger of having any accidents. So I did want to let you know, though, the reason I'm excited is we have this incredible lineup. We have Takesha Martinez, Prime Time for Women's local poet laureate. Let's hear it for her. We have Angela Petrie from Bellissima Belly Dancing, and she's here to strut her stuff, demonstrate some moves, and invite the audience. Carol Brashears of the Women's Club of Hagerstown, she's going to be talking about their organization's fast approaching 100th anniversary. They've been doing 100 years of good in this community. And last but not least, we are honored to have Stacy Pearsall here today. Stacy is an American veteran. She's going to share her story of her service to our country, also talk about the Veterans Portrait Project, which she established, and really how she makes a difference in the lives of veterans and women's veterans in particular. So I grew up in this family of 7 sisters and 1 dynamic mother, and they were just incredibly powerful women. So I've benefited from that my whole life. One of the things that my siblings and my mom and I did, and I don't even know why we started doing this, but over the years we would build human pyramids, and it occurred to me that literally and figuratively, I have been supported by these women. I have stood on their shoulders. They have lifted me up. They've held me higher. And now it's prime time for us to do that for each other. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this short commercial break.
How do you help people in 3 states breathe easier? Make sure they can be seen faster and easier. Just for you, more primary care physicians, PAs, and nurse practitioners. Meritus. Healthcare transformed. How do you give a patient healthier healthcare? Give her doctor, nurse, PA, and therapist the same health record. Introducing electronic health records. One patient, one record, one click. Meritus. Healthcare transformed. When you elevate nurses, you reduce an entire town's blood pressure. Specialized medical training means top nurses, top care. Meritus. Healthcare transformed. How do you give a patient healthier healthcare? Give her doctor, nurse, PA, and therapist the same health record. Introducing electronic health records. One patient, one record, one click. Meritus. Healthcare transformed.
Welcome back to Primetime for Women. It is my pleasure now to introduce Primetime for Women's very own Poet Laureate, Takesha Martinez. How you doing? At each show, Takesha's going to be sharing either an original work of her own poetry or a poem from some well-known poet. Today, she's going to, I'm not even going to tell her, I'll let you do your poem, and then we'll do a little interview.
Nice. So today is Phenomenal Woman, Maya Angelou. Ready? Pretty women wonder where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model size. But when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say, it's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride of my step, the curl of my lips. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's me. I walk into a room just as cool as you please. Into a man, the fellows stand or fall down on their knees. They swarm around me, a hive of honeybees. I say, it's the fire in my eyes, the flash of my teeth, the swing in my waist, the joy in my feet. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's me. Men themselves have wondered what they see in me. They try so much, but they can't touch my inner mystery. When I try to show them, they say they still can't see. I say, it's in the arch of my back, the sun of my smile, the rod of my breast, the grace of my style. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's me. Now you understand just why my head's not bowed. I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud. When you see me passing, it ought to make you proud. I say, it's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, the palm of my hand, the need for my care. 'Cause I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's me.
And Takesha is a phenomenal woman, that's for sure. So we're so glad you're here, Takesha. So can you tell us just a little bit about how you decided to start Spit Your Piece?
I moved to Baltimore and they had an open mic. And as a poet, I've been writing since about 10 years old. And I had never been in an open mic before. So when I came back to Hagerstown, I thought that this would be a great place at home to start something that wasn't here when I was younger. So that's why I created Spit Your Piece, for other poets, children, and older people to come together with like minds and be able to write and have a voice.
That's great. And Takesha, you also have, when you're open mics, you also have songwriters and I think MCs, and I think you said you have some storytellers.
Yes.
Where, do you have an next event planned, or what's in store?
March. I say the third Saturday in March is what I'm going to shoot for the next show.
So where can the audience find out about Spit Your Piece if they're looking to find out?
So there's a Facebook group. It's Spit, and then Your is U-R, and Piece is P-E-A-C-E, like peace. And there's also a like page. Okay,
that's great. Do you remember what your first poem you wrote? You said you wrote it when you were 10. Do you remember what it was about? Not really?
No.
Well, I remember when I was 7, it was my dad's birthday, and I wrote him a poem, and it said, "You may be fat, what about that?"
Mine wasn't that cool.
Yeah, my poems are not as good as Takesha's. But anyhow, you know, we all have our strengths. Takesha, what advice for the audience might you have if they're interested in writing poetry?
Oh my goodness. So the less you think about it, the better off you are. The poem it writes itself. Anybody could do this. It's just words, and words have power. So just write them down. And then I didn't realize when I walked into an open mic for the first time, I was like, whoa, I don't write like that. But I didn't realize that I had like a flow. And you'll find your rhythm the more that you continue to read over your own words. So anybody can do it. Just write.
Any questions from the audience for Takesha? Yes, back there.
Good morning. Do you find that your poetry allows women to be inspirational, that it is a vehicle that allows you to reach out and allow people to be expressive where they normally would not be?
Yes, because I didn't have a voice. And the only words that I really feel comfortable doing are poems. So I do feel as though it's an outreach, and I also do feel like it's a way for people to be able to connect with me because, ironically, I'm very introverted. So I tell more about myself in my poetry than ever I do person to person.
So I wanted to thank Takesha for coming here and for sharing your passion today. We're looking forward to having Takesha on every show. We're going to do a once-a-month show. Our next show is March 16th. She'll be joining us for each show to share a piece of poetry to enrich our lives through this spoken word art. So let's hear it again for Takesha Martinez. I just also want to announce that March 8th is International Women's Day, and we hope to do a really cool thing with having women in our community at different sites do a choral reading of phenomenal women. So check Primetime for Women's Facebook page for more information. Again, for Takesha. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
How do you help people in 3 states breathe easier? Make sure they can be seen faster and easier. Just for you, more primary care physicians, PAs, and nurse practitioners. Meritus. Healthcare transformed. How do you give a patient healthier healthcare? Give her doctor, nurse, PA, and therapist the same health record. Introducing electronic health records. One patient, one record, one click. Meritus. Healthcare transformed. When you elevate nurses, you reduce an entire town's blood pressure. Specialized medical training means top nurses, top care. Meritus. Healthcare transformed. How do you give a patient healthier healthcare? Give her doctor, nurse, PA, and therapist the same health record. Introducing electronic health records. One patient, one record, one click. Meritus. Healthcare transformed.
Welcome back. I'm glad you're still with us because you wouldn't want to miss our next guest. Stacey Pearsall is here today. She's an American veteran and a world-renowned photographer. She's been on Oprah Winfrey, she's been on PBS NewsHour, and here she is on Primetime for Women. Stacey joins us today to talk a little bit about her experience in the military. She was a U.S. Air Force combat photographer, received the Bronze Star, and she also is going to be talking about her Veterans Portrait Project that she established both as a way to recognize and honor other veterans and to, as part of her healing process. Welcome, Stacey. Thanks for being here. So just a little background. Can you tell our audience a little bit about how old you were when you joined the military and what was the decision behind that?
Well, like so many military members, the military was a tradition in my family. It goes all the way back to the Revolutionary War. And it just seemed natural that my sister, who's a year and a half older than me, would not one-up me and join the service by herself. So naturally I was inspired and I enlisted right after her. I was 17, got my parents' signature, and they signed my life away freely and willingly. No regrets. And I became a photographer. But it took another 4 years for me to actually join the ranks of combat photographers, a very, very exclusive and fantastic group of individuals. That was really when my career took off.
Okay, and when you were in the military as an Air Force combat photographer, were you one of the few women, or were there a lot of other women doing that, or?
Women were, it became open to women in the mid-90s. I joined the ranks of combat photographers in January 2002. So I was standing on the shoulders of greatness, honestly, and women paved the way before me, but I was really in the early days of women being in combat.
Did you work with other women? Were they, or were you primarily working with other male veterans?
Well, if you think about the military as a whole,
right.
When I enlisted, there was only about 11 to 12% of the military force was women, and then those who were joining combat units, combat support units like Combat Camera was even less percentage. Right. So we're like a fraction of a fraction. But what was great was that the few were very proud, and we did our best to excel and live up to what we expected of ourselves, and I believe we did that.
So you were injured in Iraq, and I think you were 28 years old when you first wound up in the VA hospital. Can you tell us a little bit about what that experience was like being in the VA hospital?
I believe that constant struggle of being a gender minority really became more apparent to me for whatever reason when I went into the VA hospital. You know, 9 times out of 10, you look in the VA hospital and a lot of the support staff and medical staff and volunteers, there are a good amount of women, thank God. But I would have to say that if you look at the veteran community, not so much, and I was a little bit of an enigma.
Right.
And that made me stick out like a sore thumb. Most times, veterans would be like, so you're taking your grandpa to his doctor's appointment? That's really nice of you. You know, and one day I'd been waiting for an appointment, 2 hours past my appointment time. I was getting kind of hungry. Red Cross was there, volunteers, amazing people, handing out cookies and soda. I went up to grab one and I had my hand swatted away. They said, those are for veterans. But that was the nature of that time, and I knew. I was in a dark place. I was in a lot of pain from my injuries. I was in emotional turmoil because of post-traumatic stress that was still coming to light. But now I found myself in this really sort of strange place I'd never been before. In the military, I was part of a family and a community where that bond was really tight, and I had the back of the person in front of me, and they had mine. In the VA, I felt just adrift. Mm-hmm. And lost, and alienated, isolated, underappreciated,
wow.
Discarded, yeah. All of the negative words that I had.
And you attributed that primarily to your gender, not fitting in to the male culture, or?
Well, in my mind, that's how I manifested it.
Okay.
That people were prejudiced against me because of my gender, or maybe just didn't know what they didn't know.
Right.
But so all the while, I was looking at other men who were looking at me, thinking they were undressing me with their eyes, that kind of thing, and making stupid comments. One day, a gentleman came and sat next to me, an elderly gentleman, and he sat next to me and stared at me, much like you are right now. And I was getting really frustrated, and we have those inner dialogue, you know, where it's like, tell him where to go. They know that hot place nobody should go. But the person inside of me, that journalist, that caring and very feminine sort of nurturer in me, turned to him and said, is there something I can help you with? And that was just the window of opportunity he was looking for to tell me his story. World War II veteran, survived D-Day, liberated a concentration camp.
Wow.
Turns out that he's a volunteer at the VA hospital, volunteered countless hours every week to reach out to veterans who looked like they were struggling, who looked like they needed help. And I was that face.
Right.
What I thought was that he was looking for something from me. And really, I was looking for something from him.
And he gave it to you.
And he did.
Yeah. So did that lead to you establishing the Veterans Portrait Project?
Yes. All the while, the doctors were telling me I couldn't do photography anymore. I couldn't lift anything over 5 pounds, couldn't stand for prolonged periods of time, and my body just couldn't handle it anymore. And I was really buying into all the things they were telling me I couldn't do. Well, when I saw Mickey, all of that just kind of went away. And I knew I wanted to take his portraits, so I worked at the VA hospital, set up my studio in the waiting rooms, and started taking portraits, despite everything they told me I should and couldn't, wouldn't do. And I never thought back, I never looked back.
She showed them.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and then that grew into the Veterans Portrait Project. Can you quickly tell us how many portraits you've taken and how many states?
Right. Well, by the time I met Mickey, I had already contemplated suicide, and I was developing a plan. That's how dark my life had gotten. And when I started taking portraits, I knew I needed an objective, a new mission, something that would keep me putting one foot in front of the
Purpose.
other. A purpose.
Yeah.
And I said I would photograph veterans in every state and province from which we recruit military members, thinking this would be a lifetime goal. It's been 10 years. I've photographed over 7,500 veterans in 29 states and over 150
And it seems to me, from what I've read and from other interviews I've heard you give, that you're not just collecting their portraits, you're collecting their stories, and there's healing going on in that process.
I could have never anticipated the sort of cathartic and healing process this would become. I believe that my time as a combat photographer, that defined who I was in my life. That's all I ever thought I was going to be. And when that was taken away, I felt like my life had come to an end. What I didn't realize was that my time as a combat photographer was simply a preamble to what I'm supposed to be doing with my life now, and that's veteran outreach. And with every story that I heard, with every story I archived, it was validating everything that I had felt and I feel. And being able to relate to my subjects has better helped me understand where they're coming from and to help them begin their healing process. Sometimes it's just a matter of giving people a platform to tell their story, and that opens the floodgates.
Well, I really appreciate that, and I want to give our audience a chance to tell their stories and ask their questions. But before we take audience questions, I just want to know if there's any veterans in the audience, and if so, to ask you to stand so that we can recognize you. Jay, come on in. We thank you for your service, and we know that you have all given, and we are really grateful. So at this time, if our Beth with the mic would stand and take audience questions, I think we can do this at that time. Any questions out there? Over there?
I feel your story is really powerful. Thank you so much. I wonder, what is the process you go through? What is it that you're trying to capture when you're taking the photograph, and how do you do that?
When I was in combat, I learned the hard way that sometimes I would take the last living picture an individual would ever have. And today is a very special day for me because it's an anniversary where I lost 3 very good friends in combat. And that was 11 years ago now. Actually, more than that. Sorry. When I go to take a veteran's portrait, I think of that, that magnitude, that each and every one of these veterans raised their hand and said, "My life is at the altar of your freedom. You feel free to send me forth and to do work for our great nation." And some have laid down that ultimate sacrifice. For me, there's no greater sense of worth, and my portrait tries to capture and encapsulate their experience in service, their history, and just what they gave to us for our freedoms.
Okay. Anybody else? Right here? Oh. I think we have time for 2 more questions.
Hi. Thank you very much for coming. I'm enjoying this immensely. Thank you to Bernadette. Also, I hate to get slightly off the subject, but could you introduce Charlie?
Yes. When I left the service, I wanted to try and go it on my own, and I thought much of the military mentality is you rub some dirt on it and you keep going. And I carried that mentality until I couldn't carry it anymore. What I didn't realize was that I was putting a large burden upon my family and my friends and my work colleagues. And by that I mean, because I couldn't lift a lot, I would ask my friends to. And because I have traumatic brain injury, I often forget a lot of things. So my assistants were basically making sure I got through the airport okay, and they would do a lot of the driving. But when I had a grand mal seizure, that's when I knew I had to get additional help. And I applied for a service dog through America's Vet Dogs. I was very, very fortunate enough to be paired with a celebrity. Charlie. Charlie. Touch. Touch it. Good boy. Yes. Sit. Shake. Now what Charlie does is he goes everywhere with me. He sleeps with me. And if I need help, Charlie, alert. He will go to another individual, send out and go get help and bring him back. Charlie, alert. Good job. Charlie, center. And when I'm getting up and down from taking photos, Charlie would brace. He helps me right there. So this is the best photography assistant I could ever ask for. Charlie, brace. More importantly, Charlie mitigates a lot of my stress. As you can imagine, waking up to this beautiful face every morning is definitely can make your heart melt. But when I'm under stressful situations, Charlie's always there to keep me calm and to help mitigate seizures that were brought on by stress. Plus, what I found was during the Veterans Portrait Project, he'll offer other people some love. Charlie, say hi. Good job. Here, Charlie. Rest.
Oh.
Good. Off. Good boy.
See, beautiful.
Good job. Sit. Lay down.
So I just want to say thanks to Stacy and for your questions. I know you, like me, are grateful for Stacy to take the time to come to Hagerstown to be a part of our Prime Time for Women show. This isn't the kind of thing, we are not Oprah, but you know what? We feel so honored and so special, and we're so grateful, Stacy, for your service, and to all those veterans that have served our country so proudly. Stay tuned, we'll be right back after this.
How do you help people in 3 states breathe easier? Make sure they can be seen faster and easier. Just for you, more primary care physicians, PAs, and nurse practitioners. Meritus. Healthcare transformed. How do you give a patient healthier healthcare? Give her doctor, nurse, PA, and therapist the same health record. Introducing electronic health records. One patient, one record, one click. Meritus. Healthcare transformed. When you elevate nurses, you reduce an entire town's blood pressure. Specialized medical training means top nurses, top care. Meritus. Healthcare transformed. How do you give a patient healthier healthcare? Give her doctor, nurse, PA, and therapist the same health record. Introducing electronic health records. One patient, one record, one click. Meritus. Healthcare transformed.
Hello again, and thanks for being here today. I'm so excited to introduce Carol Shears from the Women's Club today's show. First of all, I want to say I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that the Women's Club is making today's show possible in their beautiful historic legacy. Along with the Women's Club, Antietam Broadband and Meredith Health Systems are supporting this effort to make women's lives better by connecting women and making us healthy, happier, and stronger. And we're grateful to all of them. So Carol is the historian for the Women's Club, and as the historian, she keeps track of a lot of history. It's almost 100 years that they've been in existence. She's going to talk to us a little bit about their organization's upcoming 100th anniversary and all the programs that they have done over the years. She's also going to be telling us about their beautiful facility, which is on the National Registry of Historic Places. Carol, thanks for being here.
Thank you, and we are honored. The Women's Club feels honored to be part of this. And it's been a blessing to us, and we are just so impressed that she's the Energizer Bunny. And we're just grateful that we are able to have this facility for this great event.
Well, Carol, tell us a little bit about the mission behind the Women's Club. What drives this group?
Well, the building itself was built in 1838 by a woman, and that was quite unusual for the time for a woman to be building a home. So we're just thrilled that we have been able to be in this facility since about 1924. We bought it in 1923, again at a time when women were not doing those types of things.
I think I heard that this was the first building in Hagerstown owned by a woman.
It was,
Yeah.
and it has always been through the ages. So our mission began as an outreach of a group called the Forward Club. That was during World War I. And if you think of the Downton Abbey ladies, you'll have an idea that these were the ladies in Hagerstown. They got together and they rolled bandages and they had soup kitchens and things. And then when the World War I was over, they didn't want to go back into their homes and be domesticated again. So they organized in 1921. So in 2021, we will be celebrating our 100th anniversary.
And since you've been in this building, you've had a particular mission to help women.
Yes.
And you still do that.
We still do. It's a little known, even for our area. When the women built the addition, which includes this auditorium and an extension of the house, they added rooms upstairs. We now have 15 rooms. 2 efficiencies in the lower level and rooms upstairs that we rent to women who are of limited means. And we've been doing that since 1924 when this facility actually opened up.
And in your parlors, you have this beautiful space. I think you can see some of these slides. Tell us a little bit about, is this space open to the public? Do you ever do tours?
Open for rental. We have weddings here. We have had anniversary parties, birthday parties, showers, just private parties. I think you see some of the beautiful front parlors, and we have a dining room, plus a commercial kitchen, and then this space also that's available for rentals.
And Carol, I know the Women's Club has lots of different events for the public and sometimes for the kids. And I was just wondering, do you have a favorite event?
Well, 2 of them happen to be coming up. Every other year we have a children's tea. And it is a time when we have a different theme each year. It will be the first Sunday in May. And the last theme we had was Beatrix Potter. And as I was researching her, there was a quote that I would like to share because I just thought she put in words what we try to do at our tea. If I have done anything, even a little, to help children on the road to enjoy and appreciate honest, simple pleasures, I have done a bit of good. So we try to do that when we have the children come, girls and boys. We have a maypole and we serve lots of delicious things and have them have a picture taken and write thank you notes to them for coming. So we try to instill in them just some of the simple things that they don't get nowadays very often. The other thing that's upcoming this year that we have every 3 years is a house and garden tour, and it will be in Washington County. It'll be on June 15th. And again, we feel as though this is a service so other people can see some of the beautiful historic and other types of homes and gardens in our area, as well for the homeowners to show off their decorative abilities and their restoration abilities to keep some of these homes up in our community and functioning.
Well, Carol, I'm so glad that you're here, that you came here to share that today. And we have a beautiful community, so I hope you'll think about attending the House and Garden Tour. I also hope that you'll think about supporting this organization and help them support women for another 100 years in this community. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
How do you help people in 3 states breathe easier? Make sure they can be seen faster and easier. Just for you, more primary care physicians, PAs, and nurse practitioners. Meritus. Healthcare transformed. How do you give a patient healthier healthcare? Give her doctor, nurse, PA, and therapist the same health record. Introducing electronic health records. One patient, one record, one click. Meritus. Healthcare transformed. When you elevate nurses, you reduce an entire town's blood pressure. Specialized medical training means top nurses, top care. Meritus. Healthcare transformed. How do you give a patient healthier healthcare? Give her doctor, nurse, PA, and therapist the same health record. Introducing electronic health records. One patient, one record, one click. Meritus. Healthcare transformed.
Wow, do I have a treat for you. I'm here with Angela Petrie. She is founded Bellissima Belly Dancing in 2009. After years of being a professional performer, she really she got tuned into her inner being and said, you know, what I really like is teaching. And she's here today to tell us a little bit about what motivated her to find and establish Bellissima Belly Dancing, and also to give us a little bit of a demonstration and teach us a couple of things. So teaching is a creative outlet for you, but you tell us a little bit about how you transitioned from a performer to a teacher.
Okay, absolutely. It's I found that teaching belly dance to me was actually more satisfying in some ways than performing. I had been performing with a professional troupe down in Virginia, and I enjoyed it tremendously. I love being on stage. I love performing. I love the music. I love the costuming. But the first time I stepped foot into a classroom, I realized how much deeper I could go with this art form. Women find, once you kind of get over that hump of like, belly dance, what's that? I can't do that, or I'm too big, or I'm too small, or I'm too shy. Once I got women into a studio working with them, I realized that there was a lot of healing, in addition to creative expression, a lot of finding oneself as a woman, and to be able to help women do that was like so much a greater reward than actually performing.
Okay, so is it true that women can do the same moves, and depending on what your body shape is like, it looks totally different?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a movement on you is going to look totally different than it looks on me. Yeah. Actually, women who have a little bit more full figure or curvaceous, they have an easier time describing the movements because they have more to do it with.
Yeah.
Really.
I did try a belly dancing class because I knew this course was coming, and my instructor's great. And I said to her one day, you know, I think I'm doing this, what they're doing, but it just doesn't look the same. And she said, you know, it's, you don't have as much real estate. But it's prime real estate, okay? I'm just saying.
Yeah, I like that, prime real estate. That's the spin-off show, yeah.
Yeah. So anyhow, go ahead.
No, it's absolutely true. I mean, that's a really, really good point. The great thing about it is that it does, the movements, the art form, the expression looks completely different on every body, every person.
Get to own it.
So they get to own it. And I think the other guests here today have been talking about finding their own expression, their own voice. Who are they in that art form? And so when you stand in a studio with a teacher, or you're performing, or you're looking at yourself do these movements, it is completely your own. It's nobody else's. It doesn't have to look a certain way. Right. Belly dance is a very ancient art form, and it comes in many different flavors, many different expressions. I think I truly believe that every woman's body knows how to do these movements. That it's in there. And it's a question of how do we bring that out and how do we give ourselves permission to express who we truly are in this very beautiful art form.
So besides learning the moves, what do you hope that your students take away? What else do you hope they learn?
Well, another great benefit of working with groups of women, this is right up your alley because it's exactly the mission of your group. When we bring women together in a group doing something together in a very human, real-time way, where we're not judging each other, where we're supporting each other, we are creating something that's bigger than that activity. And I think that increasingly we need, in our societies, we need to do this at all levels, whether you're doing it, on the national stage, or, I'm a big fish in a very small pond in Berkeley Springs, West Virginia, but we have an incredibly supportive and exciting community where people come together and want to do things together.
And this community actually does some benefits. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. One of our favorite events of the year is called Shimmy Mob.
Shimmy Mob.
Shimmy Mob. This is definitely, you should go check this out. Shimmy Mob was started by a dancer in Vancouver, British Columbia, and it's a fundraiser that happens all over the planet. It always happens on, I think it's the second Saturday of May. It's always Mother's Day, almost always Mother's Day weekend. And we form a team in our own communities and learn the same dance, wear the same t-shirt, and we raise money for domestic abuse survivors. So you find a charity in your own hometown and you form a team and you collect money, and raise awareness about the issue of domestic violence. And I can't tell you, I think in our 7th year. I have some of my students and team members here with me, and it has just been the most empowering thing to use this art form to uplift and make more awareness in this very important area. I think that's happening to women.
Because I know Angela is such a great teacher, and she really has women's heart in her interest, I asked her if she would be willing to do a demonstration and maybe do some encouraging the audience to participate. So I'm going to ask you to stand up, and I'm going to push these chairs back.
Okay, and you guys have been sitting for a long time, so you are welcome to stand up and stretch in your chair. And oh yeah, there they go.
Okay.
Okay, so the other great thing about belly dancing as opposed to other forms of exercise is we get to wear really fun costumes and really fun. Actually, we have some hip scarves here if anybody wants to grab one. Yes, you should definitely get one. Who wants to see Bernadette do this? Definitely.
My prime real estate.
Actually, and I do have some students here with me today. Please, please.
I think she's going to.
Can the dog have one? Can the puppy have one?
Oh, this one doesn't have jingles.
You want to jingle one?
I don't need a jingle.
Okay. Okay.
So maybe we could have some of my students come up on stage with me, and we'll do a little combined class here. That's great. Everybody else is in the auditorium. This is great. Okay, great. First of all, just shake your legs out. Everybody just shake your legs out. We've been sitting here for a long time, and just shake out your arms, shake out your legs. Yeah. This is great. And I think we have some music for this segment, yes?
Yeah.
We have a little music because, of course, we can't really dance without. All right. So the first thing you want to learn about belly dancing is we have good posture. So get a little bouncing in your knees, your feet are about hip width apart, and you're going to tuck your tailbone just a little bit like this. Pull those abdominal bellies in, that's right, and lift that heart. Let's shine out through our hearts. We're going to extend our arms out and roll the shoulder blades back and down. Great. How's everybody feeling? You look like dancers to me. We're going to take our hips right and left. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can see this whole auditorium moving. It's awesome. Shift your weight from side to side. Just let those hips slide from right to left, from right to left. So belly dance is all about your posture. Even if you just walked around your grocery store kind of with this posture, people would be like, well, who did
she thinks she is. I don't know. But it makes you feel good. Good. And then it's all about the isolation. So just those hips. Try to keep the hands still. Let's bring the hands down, frame those hips. And we're gonna speed this up just a little bit. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's great, that's great. Float the arms back up. And we got a little geometry. We're gonna make circles. Take the hips around, and around, and around. And then we're gonna hit our angles. We're gonna twist and twist. Twist, that's right, twist. Keep those knees soft. Nice. And speed it up a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's right. That's right. And a little faster. And we got a shimmy going. That's right. Woo!
And while we're doing the shimmy, I'm going to invite the women from the Women's Club to come on stage and announce who their winner is.
Yeah, that's
Come
right.
on up. Join us on stage.
Now take your knees a little bit here. Take your knees a little bit here. We're going to shimmy.
Your whole group.
Come on, ladies.
Come on up. Join us.
I'm going to do a basic hip shimmy while they come up. That's right.
Okay.
And here's how we celebrate. In the Arab countries, we zagarit. You're going to cover your mouth. You're going to take your tongue. And you're going to go la 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 la, but really high. Here we go. La, 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 la. Let's give them a big hand. Oh, okay, we're gonna keep it, okay. I didn't know, we're keep going. Let's work on the arms. How about a little snake arms, lady? So we're gonna take our arms and lift, right? And left, nice and soft, like snakes, right? And left, good. And a little faster. Snaky arms, snaky arms, snaky arms. And then you can take this home and mesmerize people. Take it forward and forward and forward. That's, you look right through those hands, little classic hands. Give me more money, darling. Yeah. That's right. Arms out. Let's get those shimmies going. I know y'all want to shake it out. So bend the knees back and forth. Lift each hip. Up, 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 up. Try to keep that head from bouncing up and down. We want to isolate these hips. Take it a little faster. If you've got those jingles going, you'll be able to hear them, and faster.
And that shimmy's going to take us in. So big hand for Angela and her students. Stay on stage. Go ahead, say your name.
Hi, my name is Donna Wells. I'm president of the Women's Club Foundation. I want to thank everyone for coming today. It's a great turnout, and we want to thank you for doing your inaugural event here.
My pleasure, my
Okay.
pleasure. And what nonprofit is going to receive 10% of the total ticket sales?
Well, it's going to be the Women's Club Foundation, and I believe everybody made out to endowment.
Okay, and that means it's going to support their initiatives to support women with limited means. Let's give them a big round of applause. I also want to give a special thank you and shout out to Antietam Broadband, to Steady Entertainment for DJ services, Sailor Dub for photography, and Jim Miller of After 5 Productions. None of this would be happening without the tremendous support in this community. So thank you all for being here today. Okay, let's do your thing. We need the music.
We need music. Want to go out with the big shimmy?
Yeah. Okay,
Oh,
so
here
what
we
do
go. Okay. So let's get our arms going again. Here we go. Take them out. Now we can make some figure eights with our hips. Figure eight, figure eight, hip circle.